pep talk time. Welcome to Kyera in My Pocket, where personal transformation gets intimate, raw, and uncensored. So do not say that I didn't warn you. I'm Kyera Kacey, founder of Liberate Her, an international best-selling author of Rich Bitch Money Goals, Becoming the Energetic Match to Wealth. I have coached thousands of women around the world using our 9 iconic rich bitch principles to change their lives, their businesses, and their bank accounts. So get ready for unfiltered stories, TMI moments, and the exact mindset and embodiment shifts that have helped me build a multi-7-figure empire. I am here to help you on your path to personal and professional success. So tune in, turn up, and let's fucking go. I got a pocket full of Kyera. Whoa. I couldn't help myself. Let's go. It is our Friday channeled message, and I'm going to keep it real this morning, as I always do. And by we, I mean me, like me, myself, and I. If you're watching this on video, then you can see my shirt. But what you can't see is the fact that I'm also just sitting here in my underwear. So I just want to be honest. We are, we're really enjoying the comfort of being at home. And the fact that I can do this and wear what I want and it doesn't matter. So that's what we're doing this morning. But I want to share. So yesterday I had a conversation. I've got a monthly membership that I recently decided I was going to close the doors to this. And by close the doors, I mean June is going to be our last month having calls inside of this membership. And it was something that I sat with for many months because there are people in this space that I absolutely adore, and they're on every call. I love them. I know they are benefiting from this space. And at the same time, there's a large number of people that don't show up. They're paying every single month and they're not utilizing the space. And for me, anybody that knows me knows that I lead with frequency first, and I can't have a space where change isn't happening for majority of the collective. And so even though my membership is generating thousands of dollars in reoccurring revenue every single month, I don't care. I will close something down when intuition tells me to do it, because I have, at this point and at this stage in my life, I have spent enough time in practice of listening to my intuition. And so my ego would say one thing where it's like, oh, I love the people. Like I could totally still grow it, but it's been off for several months now, frequency wise. And I had the missing piece for me really clicked last week on a phone call that I had with a mentor. And so I made this decision, and I didn't make it lightly, but the reason I'm sharing this with you for today's channeled message is because one of the things that you are going to experience during your journey of change, whatever that change is for you. So whether you're in pursuit of scaling your business, starting a business, making more money, attracting the love of your life, just simply living in bliss and joy, like whatever you're in pursuit of, you are going to discover that as you evolve and as you grow, sometimes you're going to outgrow spaces and places and people. And where I find people get stuck the most is they delay what they know to be true. And they delay what they know to be true because they're afraid. They delay what they know to be true because practicing trust is a muscle that most people have not stretched. It's a muscle that most people have not built. Hearing intuition is one thing, but moving accordingly is another, right? This is why we say insight without action makes no difference. And what I also want to share with you in full transparency, but also in service to you, is that when we have the knowingness to do something. So for me, it was time to close the membership. And part of the mismatch with this, I just want to be keep it real with you, keep it real, and just share all the things. Part of the mismatch was the price point. So this was a $47 a month membership. There were 4 calls. And I have to say that, in September, I made the decision to take a $222 a month membership and drop it to $47, because the mission statement for Liberate Her came in. And the mission statement for Liberate Her is giving every woman the opportunity to choose her rich bitch life. And if you're new to this podcast, Rich Bitch is based off of my 9 rich bitch principles, which are a blueprint for change. It's every single thing that I have done to create the kind of change in my life and in my bank account and in my reality that people ultimately want for themselves. Some version of change, right? Some version of success, some version of wealth, whatever that is. And so I wanted to make something accessible for women across the globe to get into. I wanted a space, I wanted a room that women could enter and receive the kind of support and have access to mentorship that would be a first step for them. But what I realized along the way was that the value that I was bringing into the space against the price point was not being valued. Like for some people, not by everybody, but by some, they just weren't valuing the space. And there's a saying, when you pay more attention. And now that's not to say that that rings true for everybody, because there are some people that enter a free master class or a free conference or a free space, a free event, and they get a ton out of it. They apply themselves. There's an intention going into it. So I'm not saying that this is true across the board, but I am saying that there's a theme amongst most people that when it's just kind of like, kind of like a gym membership, when it's super cheap or you don't really care, like sometimes you just don't show up for it. This was one of the reasons why I started working with a personal trainer, because like I could go spend, I don't know, $100 a month on a gym membership and have access to weights. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going in there. I'm not going to go in and do leg day on my own. I'm not going to do that. But if I'm paying money for a trainer and I have specific days that I'm accountable to show up for, you better fucking believe I'm going to be there. And so it was just one of those things where I realized, even though the mission statement and the intention was super pure, it wasn't converting. And so I'm not interested in just collecting money every month from people that aren't showing up. Like that's not going to do it for me. I'm not going to be able to show up in that energy. And I'm sharing this with you for several reasons, but the first thing is that as you grow, like I said, you're going to outgrow things, people, places, and spaces. And it is going to be your job to not only recognize when that growth and when that pivot is being required of you, but it is going to be your job to move with your intuition and to trust, especially when you start to have feelings around it. Because one of the things that started coming up for me after I made this announcement was, I started seeing the posts that were dropping in this group, and there's people that deeply love this space, and my heart was hurting for them because I know they're disappointed. And there was this like brief moment of going, oh man, am I doing the right thing? And it was so fleeting. It was so fast. It was so brief. And I'm sharing that with you because it's similar. Think of the person that leaves a relationship, or maybe you can relate to having invested a lot of money that was maybe out of your comfort zone, but it was an intuitive move and you invested a lot of money in a mentor or whatever. And then there's this brief moment where you're like, fuck, am I doing the right thing? And that is a very, very normal, common response when we are in the river of change, when we are choosing different things for ourselves and we're trusting in the intuitive guidance that ultimately is leading us into a place that's unknown because we haven't been there before, or we're in process of creating something new. And the other thing that I really want to highlight, and this is something that's coming through really strongly, I think a lot of people are afraid to quote unquote fail. And I'm not somebody that is afraid to try something on and pivot. So you will never see me not do something out of consideration for whether or not it'll work, because that's always a consideration. This may or may not be the greatest fucking thing, right? Like it might really suck. And it might turn out to be fucking incredible. But I'm never going to not do something because it may or may not go according to plan. And what I have found for a lot of people is that, they'll look at something, and if somebody's changing things quickly or often, they might look at that as, okay, this isn't working. And what I look at that is more like, this person is willing to try things on. They're not here to be a perfectionist, but they are here to get it right. And there's actually a difference. The perfectionist will control an outcome. They'll work really hard to force, to manipulate, and they will have an attachment and an expectation for how things should go. And if they don't go that way, they'll work really hard to try to make it go that way, right? Like they're the person that swims against the flow of the ocean, of the river. They're making life harder. But the person that wants to get it right, the person that wants to get it right is willing to try things on. And when something's not working, they'll sit down and be like, okay, something feels off about this. Let's pivot. Let's figure out what's not connecting. Where is there a frequency mismatch? And so the message for today, there's like several little nuggets here, but the biggest one I want to leave you with is get over being a perfectionist and focus on getting it right. And by getting it right, that would mean that you're not trying to force or control the outcome, but you are committed to feeling the resonance in your soul. You're willing to get to that place of like, this feels good. This feels right. This feels aligned. This feels like success because the feeling that I'm experiencing, right? The definition of wealth inside the rich bitch community is wealth is your experience of self. And if we're going to be really wealthy, then we're going to feel really good in our pursuit of all things. And that's not to say we don't have bad days, but that is to say that we're not going to stay in something just because it's generating thousands of dollars if we don't feel good about it. If there's a frequency mismatch and we're like, I'm not loving this space anymore. Yeah, it's making thousands of dollars, but I'm not loving it. Are you willing to do the thing that is right, that is going to support you in actually creating your highest timeline in business, life, wealth, relationships, and beyond? Or are you going to run with ego and keep doing the thing that you've actually outgrown? Because one of the things I can tell you, and this is something I told everybody inside of that membership, especially for the people that were disappointed, I said, if it's right for me, it's right for you. And if I were to keep a room open just because you love it, but I've outgrown it, then I actually wouldn't be doing you any good. It would be a disservice to the collective. And I say the same thing when somebody is leaving a relationship. When it's right for you, it's right for the other person, even if it feels really fucking painful. And so, what is it in your life that you have outgrown? See, when I knew that this space was not actually calling people forward into their power, I knew that I was going to open up a new room to do that because that's really important for me. Because if people aren't changing and they're not moving, I'm not happy and I'm not going to keep something open just because it's making money. And so, how can you today call yourself forward? How can you today look at something that you've outgrown that's no longer serving you? And how can you close the door? What will you do today to complete a cycle in your life that is time to be completed? Okay, this is something I say inside of my book. Expiration dates are not just for food in your fucking refrigerator. Okay, like some of you have expired relationships, expired friendships, expired jobs, expired self talk, and you're eating it. And you're like, why am I so sick? Okay, we got to take a look at this. So, this is our Friday pep talk. This is our Friday channeled message. And I'm going to leave you with that. And I'm just going to let you digest that for today. This pep talk was powered by Rich Bitch Money Goals, The Experience, our monthly membership designed to help you become the energetic match to wealth. Tap the link in the description to claim your seat and join the Rich Bitch community where the more we play, the more money we make.